Noodles are like a staple food in most countries in Asia. For our project this semester, we decided to induce kangkong into our noodles to give a healthier alternative to the public. And our kangkong noodles are very easy to make, where we only need to mix all the ingredients, knead the dough, and then cut it into our preferred shape. Although it is simple, a Haccp system need to be applied because pathogenic bacteria like Staphylococcus and Streptococcus can live in our noodles. To minimize the food health risk, we have prepared a Haccp plan to provide guidance for the necessary food safety related procedures. For our Haccp team, we have chose Fatuddin Afkar as our team leader, Wan Mas as our chief operating officer, Najwa Fatini and Amira Azaid as our maintenance managers, Katrunada as our quality control technician, Najah, Nadia and Alia Najiha as our microbiologist, Fatihah as our purchasing agent, and Hashikin as our shipping manager.
The next part is about product flow diagram. A product flow diagram visually represents the stages of flow of a food product from raw material to the final consumer. The flow diagram will be start with the raw materials. This section includes the raw materials and ingredients that will be used in the production process. For our product, the raw material is kangkong, and we have the dry material, which are wheat flour, oat flour, salt, and basil seed. After receiving the raw material, it will be checked first either it is safe to be processed or not. If it is not okay, it will be rejected, and if the raw material okay, it will be continued to the next process, which are washing and cutting. This process is be done to remove any contaminants such as pollutants and pesticide residue. It is also same process for the dry material. If it is not okay, it will be rejected, and if the material is safe, and then we proceed to the storage to be used later. After washing and cutting process, we proceed with blending and mixing all the ingredients to form dough and continue with shaping the dough to make it as noodle. And after this process, the noodle shape will be checked first either it is uniform or not before going to cooking process, which is boiling. And then we will proceed with to the packaging. The noodle will be filled into the plastic packaging and is being sealed first and being checked before going further to the labeling, packaging, storage, and then it will be distributed.
The next part is Haccp decision tree that will be used for the raw material or the packaging material. So based on this decision tree, this is how the decision tree looks like. There will be 3 questions which will be divided into 2 for yes option or for the no option. Okay, so for our product, there will be only one raw material that use this decision tree, which is the water spinach puree, because it does have a potential hazard in terms of biological and the physical. So for the biological, it must be a potential hazard for E. coli, and for the physical, it have a possibility to contaminate with the soil, stone, glass, and metal fragments. So for water spinach puree, both of physical and biological hazard only involve or like relate to 2 questions only, which is for the question 1 and the question 2. So firstly, for the biological hazard, which is the E. coli, based on the first question on the decision tree, it asks that is there a significant hazard with this raw material or packaging material. Those we answered with yes, because there will be a possibility of the contaminate or the presence of the E. coli in our raw material, which is the water spinach. After we decided the yes, we will move to the second question, which is it asks, are you or the customer or consumer going to process this hazard? So we say yes, and then for this it will move to the third question, which is there a cross-contamination risk to the facility or to other product which will not be controlled? This question resulted to no answer from us, because there will be no effect to other product, because this hazard is actually can be controlled by us. When it falls to no, it will be indicate as not a sensitive material. We can go to the next material. Okay, for the another one of the hazard, potential hazard, which is in physical hazard, there will be a possibility our water spinach will be contaminated with the soil, stone, grass, or metal fragments. Okay, so when we go through one by one of the question in our decision tree for this physical hazard, we can see that for the question one, which asks is there a significant hazard for our raw material, we decided with yes answer, which is move to the second question that asks, are you or the consumer going to process this hazard? So we answered with yes. Thus, it will move to the third question, which is there a cross contamination risk to the facility or to other product which will not be controlled? So for the third question, it will fall to the no, just similar to the biological hazard just now, which is the E. coli part. So then it will conclude that this physical hazard, which is consists of the grass, soil and stone, and the other one will be indicates that it is not a sensitive material. So as usual, we can proceed to the next material.
Alright, now we'll move on to the hazard analysis for raw materials. So there are 7 ingredients that we have for our product, and I will explain for the first 4 ingredients, which includes the wheat flour, oat flour, salt, and sodium silicates. For wheat flour and oat flour, they have the potential hazards from all categories, which is for the biological, chemicals, and physicals. Right after we've gone through the risk assessment based on severity and likelihood for each of the hazards, we can conclude that all of the hazards are not significant hazards and can be controlled by applying the control measures that I've suggested in this table. Alright, so next for the salt, it has the chemicals and physical hazards, while for the sodium silicates, it only has the chemical hazards. But after we've gone through the risk assessment based on the severity and likelihood, we can conclude also that both of these ingredients it has not significant hazard and can be controlled by the control measures suggested here in this table.
Next, we look at the water spinach puree. The potential hazards for water spinach puree come from biological and physical hazard. For biological potential hazard, there is a probability that E. coli is present in the raw material. It is because of the survival bacteria that comes from the improper washing process. The severity for E. coli is 2, which can cause serious illness to the consumers, and the likelihood of occurrence is C, which is the hazard could occur. Based on the food safety hazard matrix number, E. coli is categorized under the scale of 8, which it is a significant hazard. To control this significant hazard, we need to ensure the proper cleaning of water spinach. Even though this biological hazard is significant, it does not categorize as critical control point. Next, for the potential physical hazard of water spinach puree, there's probability that soil, stone, glass, or metal fragments are present. The inclusion for this hazard is due to the improper washing by workers. Its severity is 4, which can generate a customer complaint, and the likelihood of occurrence is C, which can occur in our premise. However, this hazard is categorized as non-significant because the matrix number is 18, and also it is not a critical control point. For the filtered water and basil seeds, there are no potential hazards determined and they are not likely to occur.
The next part is hazard analysis type for packaging material. So for our product, we use nylon vacuum plastic. So for this plastic, it contains no potential hazard in terms of biological, chemical, and also physical. Those is not likely to occur.
Next is the hazard in process step. On the process step, we need to find the hazard from the receiving of the material until the distribution. So we go to the first process step, which is the receive raw material. There is no potential hazard found when the raw material is received. Second is a storage. The potential hazard found is a biological, which is the microbes due to the survival of pathogen to non-optimal temperature, and the severity is 3, which can result in a product recall, and the likelihood is type C, which is could occur. So to control the hazard, we need to use the accurate temperature, which is a negative 4 degrees Celsius. The next step is the ingredient preparation. So the hazard found is a physical, which is the forage matter due to the improper handling by the worker. The severity is 4, which is generate a customer complaint, and the likelihood is a type A for the common occurrence. So to measure this hazard, we need to ensure the proper hygiene practices in place, ensure proper cleaning and equipment sanitation, and ensure the proper wearing of the PPE. Because the storage and the ingredient preparation is not necessary for the product safety, so there is no critical control point on this step. The next step is a washing water spinach. In washing water spinach, they have the two potential hazards will be found, which is the biological and also the physical. For the biological, which is the E. coli, due to the improper washing, so the severity is 2, which can cause the severe illness, and the likelihood is a type D, which not expected to occur. And to control this, we need to ensure the proper cleaning of the vegetable and train the personnel on the GMP. Because this hazard is important for the product safety, so it needs the critical control point. For the physical, where we found the soil, stone, glass and the metal fragment, which is due to the improper washing, and the severity is 4, which can generate the customer complaint, and the likelihood is a type C, which could occur. So to control this, we need to train the personnel on the GMP. The next step is a flour refining, which we find the potential hazard is a physical, which is the forage matter. Due to the hazard from flour and also the equipment, the severity is a 4 and the likelihood is a type C. So to control this, we use the preventive maintenance. Next is the mixing and kneading. The potential hazard found is a physical, which is the forage matter due to the improper cleaning of the equipment. So the severity is a 4, which can generate the customer complaint, and the likelihood is a type A, which is a common occurrence. So to control this measure, we need to ensure the proper hygiene practices in the place.
Okay, for the next process is a cooking process, which is boiling process. The potential hazard on this process is on biological hazard and chemical hazard. For the biological hazard, it may contain E. coli that comes from improper cooking temperature. The severity is 2, which is can cause serious illness and it could occur. So to control it by using accurate temperature. For the chemical hazard, it is come from chemical contaminant at equipment and ingredient. So for the its severity is on 3 that result in product recall and it could occur. So for the control this hazard is make sure to wash the equipment until it's clean. Next process is sealing process. So for the sealing process, the biological hazard is on the microbial growth, such as mold and fungi that come from improper sealing process. The severity is 4 that may result on customer complaint and it could occur. To control it is by perform the proper sealing technique. For the chemical hazard, which is the migration of chemical that come from the packaging contain chemical that transfer to the food during sealing. For the severity is 3 that result in the product recall and it's don't expect to occur. So to control it is by using food grade packaging material. And for the labeling process, there is no potential hazard. And for the packaging process, the potential hazard is on the physical hazard, which is maybe contain the foreign object. The severity is at 3 that result in product recall and it could occur. To control it is establish visual inspection protocol for the final packaging stage. And the last one is for dispatch process. The potential hazard is also on the physical hazard, which is the product damage, which come from negligence while loading product using forklift. The severity is at 3 that result in product recall and it could occur. To control it is by giving training to loading and dispatch worker.
As for hazard plan summary, the first CCP is washing water spinach, where the significant hazard is biological hazard and the critical limit is to wash the water spinach with correct technique. And the corrective action is the operator shall stop the production, discard the products that use the contaminated water spinach, and the last one is to use the correct washing method for the next batch of water spinach. Meanwhile, for its verification, the QA must verify the batch production record and ensure that the method used is correct. Meanwhile, for the record, the raw material rejected record is needed and the batch manufacturing record also needed. CCP2 is cooking or boiling process, where the significant hazard is biological hazard and the critical limit is optimum cooking temperature, where we need the temperature above 70 degrees Celsius to kill the E. coli. Meanwhile, for corrective action, the operator shall stop the production, discard the product that does not use the correct cooking temperature, and the last one is use the correct cooking temperature for the next manufacturing. As for verification, the QA should verify the batch production record, review the production record daily, and ensure that the method used is correct. For the records, we need product rejected record and batch manufacturing record.
Now we proceed to halal control point. Halal control point is a step or procedure at which control can be applied, and as a result, halal food cross-contamination hazard can be prevented or eliminated. Also, the first stage of submission for halal certification is identifying the halal control point for material, processing and delivery. A decision tree is a predictive assessment by mapping from observation about an item which is processed or materials to make conclusion about its status. There are 3 Haccp that will be conducted from the decision tree. First, identification of Haccp is halal certification during the supply of raw materials. The next Haccp is identified during the processing steps, which is the equipment used during the production, and the last Haccp is on transportation and packaging during the delivery process. Now is the last halal control point of transportation and packaging. The loading and stuffing is the critical area in halal transportation. In the transportation of halal goods, it is important that the transport need to be clean before it is being stuffed or loaded. The container of transport vehicle needs to be dedicated for halal or ritually cleansed before use. Senior manager is responsible to ensure container or truck used shall be reserved for halal product transportation only. Lab in charge and store in charge shall inspect the container prior to the loading of products, and if it does not meet the requirements, the staff need to inform halal compliant team, and then the team will inform the senior management, and the receiving manager will be held until they receive approval to proceed. The procedure used to verify the status of the items are internal audit, press control, control of measuring and monitoring equipment, inspection and testing, control of non-conforming products. Then all of the details will be recorded in CPA form and checklist for loading of products. As for the packaging materials are not acceptable if source or produce is non-halal. The procurement in charge must ensure that the packaging materials are of halal source or procedure, and they also need to take halal declaration from the supplier of packaging material. If supplier does not provide the halal declaration, then the packaging materials are not accepted. So, only obtain material for halal certified supplier, and then the details will be recorded in the receiving record and halal declaration of packaging materials from supplier.
The first halal control point in the process is halal certification for ingredient. So, in the process, no ingredient allowed without the valid of halal certification. The QC and QA will take place in checking the material we will receive, and it will record upon receiving the material. So the corrective action for if there is any error during the process, we will hold the ingredient until the certificate obtained. If the halal status is not verified, we will reject the material and report to the purchasing department for a return. So the QC and the storekeeper will be briefed about the verification of ingredient and the raw material upon the arrival for the corrective action. The second Haccp is the cleanliness and the hygiene of equipment. So that all equipment must be clean and sanitized without the non-halal material. For the immediate action, we will change the unhygienic or the tainted with haram material equipment with the clean one. And the QC and the production will be briefed about the equipment requirement before the processing starts. So for the record, we will check the equipment before the processing starts, and the equipment must be very clean from any haram material before the process starts.